excuse my stepdad in the back. In the back, he is mowing. He will stop soon, I promise. But I don't know if these stories will help you go to sleep, if that's your type of thing. But if you just want to relax and listen to them, that would be fun too. That would be nice. So I'm going to look at Reddit scary stories. And Reddit conspiracy theories. We'll do the scary stories first. I actually had a different video planned to film today, another roleplay, but I'm waiting to get all my stuff together for it, so it's gonna have to wait another couple days. So I'm sorry about the lack of roleplays, but they will be coming. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay. As always, I've got it pulled up and ready to go. Okay. First one. Bear or man in the woods. I got both. I barely survived. You know that debate that was all over social media a while back? If you're alone in the woods, would you rather run into a bear or a man? Yeah, that. Well, it actually happened to me. It was a Wednesday. I was on forced paid vacation because apparently working 70-hour weeks was a liability for the company. But God forbid they actually pay us overtime. So there I was, midweek, with nothing to do and no one around. I figured, screw it, let me go camping. Yeah, feel free to judge me for going alone. But at that point, boredom was worse than fear. The weather forecast said it would be cloudy. That's it, cloudy. So imagine my surprise when I was halfway through setting up my tent. The sky decided to absolutely itself, like full biblical flood. Cats, dogs, and possibly raccoons. I panicked, started ripping the tent out of the ground, trying to save what I could. I ran to the car. 2 flat tires. 2, not 1. Just my luck. Earlier, I'd seen a couple camping maybe half a mile away when I dove in. So I threw on my emergency poncho. I had cut holes into a black trash bag and started walking. I was never good with directions. That and the rain turned everything into a swirling mess of mud and shadows. Got darker, like a movie dark. The kind where you expect something to pop out of the trees and maul you, and something did. At first, I saw rustling up ahead and thought, thank God, maybe the couple heard me. I shouted, hey, I need help. Big mistake. Because what stepped out of the bush wasn't a person. It was a black bear, probably 5 feet tall at the shoulder, soaking wet, staring at me like I owed it money. I froze. It didn't. It charged. It was chaos. Claws, teeth roaring. I felt something rip through my side. I remember hitting the ground hard. My leg twisted at the wrong angle. Everything was pain and rain and noise. Then nothing. When I came to, I wasn't dead. Not yet. I was bleeding out, soaked, too tired to move. I thought that was it. Then I heard footsteps, not heavy like the bear's, lighter, more deliberate. It was the guy from the couple I saw earlier. At first, I thought I was saved. I even smiled, but he didn't smile back. The last thing I saw before blacking out again was his boot heading straight for my face. When I woke up, I was tied to a table. I was cold. Everything hurt. Okay. I'm skipping the explicit part. Let's just say, if the bear had eaten me, it would have been a mercy. What they did, it wasn't about hunger, it was about control. But eventually, it did become about hunger. They started taking pieces of me. First, my foot. I remember the crunch, like someone stepping on dry leaves. They were impressed with the flavor. Then came the leg. That one took them longer. They were careful with it, like it was a prized cut. The day they were going to take my arm, the cops burst in. Turns out they'd been tracking missing people for months. Dozens had vanished into those woods. I was lucky, if you can even call it that. I'd been missing for a month. A whole month. So much for vacation. So yeah, when people online start that whole debate again, would you rather run into a bear or a man in the woods? I say, F both. They're both monsters. One just pretends to be human. And honestly, I don't care what you think is scarier, because sometimes fear isn't about choosing between bad and worse. It's about knowing you're completely powerless and no one's coming. So be afraid, not of the woods, not of the bear, not of the man. Be afraid of how easy it is to disappear, disappear, disappear. Now no one really notices until it's too late, till it's too late, till it's too late. That was pretty scary. This is just another disclaimer that I do these usually at the beginning of all of my Reddit videos. I didn't do it at the beginning of this one because I forgot. But I have not reread this content, so some of it may be triggering or explicit, even though I try to censor it the best that I can. So just letting you know. Just letting Okay. I think my Bumble date made a key to my apartment. Made a key. I've only told one person the full story. I probably sound paranoid, but I know what I saw, what I felt. I met this guy, Adrian, during a post-breakup slump. Hot, charming, FaceTimed early. Brought flowers on the first date. He stayed over once. On the couch, everything felt normal, till it didn't. A few days later, my bathroom trash had been emptied. My mugs removed. A drawer I never touched was cracked open. I told myself I was overthinking until I got a Snapchat. It was me doing dishes from behind, taken inside my apartment. Then he messaged, "You ghosted me. You ghosted me. You ghosted me." Next day, he liked every Instagram pic I had. Back to 2016. Then followed my high school friend I hadn't tagged in years. Then left a comment. "Might come say hi soon." I came home from work one night to a rose on my doorstep. The same kind he'd brought on our first date. No note, no knock, just the rose, just the rose. Then one night at 3:40 a.m., my smoke alarm went off. No fire, no food, but in my coat closet, a still smoking cigarette and a ceramic mug on a paper napkin, waiting to catch fire. The cops found no fingerprints, no forced entry, but they did find a blank universal key inside my lock, unmarked, filed smooth, maintenance style, like someone made a copy. I moved out the next month. I still check under my bed every night. I haven't opened a dating app in 2 years. 2 years. I found a journal in my apartment's crawl space. had jammed it back into place recently, out of boredom and maybe a little paranoia. I pried it open one night. It led to a narrow crawl space, barely big enough to fit a body. The smell got worse. Inside, I found a small metal box. Rusted, dented, but not locked. I thought it might be old wiring or something left by a tenant, but when I opened it, it was full of notebooks, water damaged, pages stuck together, but legible. The first entry was dated April 2017. The handwriting was messy, panicked. It said, "I think someone is living in the walls. Not a metaphor. I hear breathing behind the cabinets. It stops when I listen too hard. I laughed at first. Figured it was someone's creative writing or a prank, but I kept reading. The entries got more detailed. Descriptions of scraping sounds behind the bedroom walls. Small things going missing. Milk, half empty when he swore he hadn't touched it. Faucets running when he woke up. Then he started hearing breathing again, followed by heavy footsteps in the ceiling around 3:12 a.m. every night. Exact same time. That's when it started getting familiar, because I'd been hearing the exact same noises. My brain went into overdrive. Maybe I was psyching myself out. Maybe I'd read too much. But the worst part, the final journal entry was just a few lines. They only come when you know. Once you realize they're real, it's like they can feel it. Like they feed on attention. If you're reading this, you've already heard them. I slammed the notebook shut. My skin went ice cold. That night, at 3:12 a.m. sharp, I woke up to the sound of creaking above my head. I didn't move, didn't breathe. It was so specific. Slow, careful steps, like someone crawling in the ceiling. They stopped above my door. Then I heard breathing, heavy, wet, like someone with a chest infection. Right above me, I laid there, sweating for almost 40 minutes. Listening to the sound of something waiting. In the morning, I convinced myself it was a dream, till I opened the fridge. The milk was open. I never opened it. It was sealed the day before. I threw out the notebooks and sealed the crawl space with some screws and plaster. But every night since 3:12 a.m., like clockwork, steps, breathing, and sometimes the faint sound of paper rustling. I think they're looking for their journal. The siren sounded, but there were no storms projected in the weather forecast. Actually, this is a really long one. I'm going to read this one because it has a part 2 too. I fell asleep with the TV on. I woke up to a live stream from inside of my house. I'm scared. I don't understand what happened. I haven't been home since. I live alone. I'm a hard-working, fairly young guy. I just bought my own house last year, and well, yes, sometimes I get spooked when I hear a creak in the house. I have never had an experience like I faced last week. As you can imagine, in this economy, it's not the easiest to own property by yourself. Most people wait until they're married and have dual incomes to purchase a home. I, on the other hand, believed I could handle the responsibility on my own. It wasn't easy, don't get me wrong. Sometimes the bills were paid on, and I had very little spending money for anything else. I was okay with that though, because you can call it pride. I felt proud owning my own home. Late 20s, good job. And now my own house. I was doing well enough for myself. I said, I'm a hard worker, sometimes not by choice but by necessity. Mortgage and bills needed to be paid, and I didn't have anyone else to rely on. That meant any overtime I could get my hands on, I took. Need me to come in early? No problem. Need me to work a double? Say no more. I believed if I could earn enough money to get ahead of my bills, then I could slow down the overtime and really start to enjoy the fruits of my labor. After a long week of work, I was ready to fall asleep, just about anywhere. Exhausted was not the word. The drive home was rough, but I finally made it home. I walked in the door, threw my bag on the floor, and headed for the kitchen. I just wanted to get something in my stomach before knocking out for the night. I grabbed a beer out of the fridge and a frozen pizza out of the freezer. I put the pizza in the air fryer and spotted what I would like to describe to be the most comfortable spot known to man. My worn down couch. It wasn't pretty, but it felt like I was sitting on a cloud. I grabbed the remote and began flipping through the channels. I didn't have anything in mind, just something for background noise as I ate. I barely made it past 5 channels before I was sleeping on the couch. I would have slept there all night if it weren't for the smell of my pizza burning in the air fryer, letting me know that my pizza was past the point of consumption. I woke up in a daze, my eyes fighting to stay open. I forced myself to sit up. Right before I got up, I noticed something strange on the TV. I thought I was dreaming. I sat up straight, rubbed my eyes a few times, but it still didn't make any sense. I was looking at my living room. It was a bit fuzzy. Sort of had a home movie type filter on it. I couldn't process what was happening. There was a timestamp in the bottom right that read 2:07 a.m. I glanced at the cable box and noticed it was now 2:45 a.m. My attention was brought back to the TV when the video started playing. You could see my front door just barely in the frame. I saw myself entering my house, throwing my bag down, heading to the kitchen, walking out with a beer and sitting down on the couch. I saw myself drift off to sleep within seconds of sitting on the couch, and then the video stopped. Then it began to rewind. I saw the front door close and the video paused again. Then the screen went black. What's going on? I said under my breath. I had to be dreaming. This had to be some type of weird sleep deprivation thing I was experiencing. Was I hallucinating? Was someone playing a sick prank on me? It was the only thing that made sense. I didn't understand what was happening. I panicked. After frantically searching for the remote, I grabbed it and attempted to turn the TV back on. I was met with static. I was about to stand up and get the F out of my house. But just as I was standing up, I felt it. The feeling you get when someone's watching you. When someone walks into a room and is staring a hole right into you. I froze in place as the TV displayed a new image. I recognized what I was seeing immediately. The view from the staircase in my house leading down into the living room. My phone buzzed next to me. I quickly grabbed it. I received a notification for a new voicemail. My phone never rang. This had to be it. The big reveal. One of my buddies playing some oddly elaborate trick on me. That's what I wanted to believe. I held the phone to my ear and listened to the message. Don't move. A strange voice, a voice I didn't recognize. I began spinning the Rolodex in my mind, trying to match the voice to someone I know. That's when I heard it. A creak at the top of the steps. The video was live. I didn't dare look up the stairs. I didn't move a muscle. I just sat there, my heart pounding against my ribs like it wanted to escape. The TV screen remained fixed on the staircase. It was dark, grainy, but I could still make out the faint silhouette of someone, or something, standing motionless at the top step. It wasn't moving. Neither was I. I held my breath. Another creak. Stepped down one stair, then another. Still, the figure the screen. I finally turned my head just slightly toward the staircase. Empty, but the sound of footsteps continued. Slow, deliberate, not rushing, like it wanted me to hear every single step. My hand hovered over the phone. I tried to dial 911, but the screen stayed black, dead, even though I remembered charging it earlier that night. The TV glitched again. New angle. Now it was from behind me, from the kitchen, facing the back of my head. I could see myself, motionless, staring at the screen. Behind me, in the shadows of the hallway, something moved. A tall, thin figure slowly entering the frame. I turned to look behind me. Nothing. I looked back at the TV. The figure was closer now, standing right behind the couch, right behind me. I shot up and bolted for the front door. I didn't look back. I couldn't. I just ran. I didn't care that I was barefoot. I didn't care that my car keys were still on the kitchen counter. I sprinted down the street, past the other darkened houses, until I made it to the gas station at the corner. I called the police from there. They didn't do anything when they searched the house. No signs of forced entry, no fingerprints, no evidence of tampering with the TV. They told me that maybe it was a bad dream. Maybe I'd fallen asleep watching something and my mind had filled in the blanks. I wanted to believe them, but I knew better, because the next day when I went back to gather a few things and figure out what to do next, there was a note slipped under my door. From the inside, no envelope, just a piece of paper. It said, "I told you not to move. I told you not to move." Oh my gosh, I found one, and this reminds me of, has anyone ever seen Brat's Sleepover Adventure? That may be a bit of a niche reference, but if you've seen it, this is what this story reminds me of, at least from the title. My reflection started lying to me. Now it wants out. I know this sounds insane, but I think the mirror in my apartment is trying to replace me. This isn't a metaphor. I don't mean it in some poetic post-breakup, I lost myself kind of way. I mean literally. I think my reflection is something else. Let me explain. I moved into the apartment 2 months ago. It was a last-minute rental. Cheap, unrenovated, on the top floor of a crumbling 1920s building. The kind of place with lead pipes, radiators that hiss like angry cats, permanent smell of dust and old wood. But it was quiet. I needed quiet. After the divorce, after everything, I just wanted a quiet place where I could think, or stop thinking. There's this old mirror in the bathroom, oval-shaped, bolted into the tile wall, a little warped at the edges, like it's been absorbing decades of steam and secrets. I didn't think much of it at first, but on my third night in the apartment, I noticed something weird. It started with a smile. I was brushing my teeth, half asleep. I looked up. My reflection was already looking at me. But I hadn't raised my head yet. I froze, foam on my lips. My reflection smiled. Just a tiny twitch at the corner of its mouth. I wasn't smiling. I stared for a long time, waiting for it to reset. Like maybe I blinked and missed something. itself, but not before I noticed. Once, I walked past the bathroom door and caught a glimpse of movement. I paused, looked in. My reflection was standing there, staring. I was still in the hallway. Then it turned and walked away into the mirror. I didn't sleep that night. I tried filming it. Of course, nothing happened. On camera, the mirror looked perfectly normal. Movement synced, no delays, no weird smiles. It was just like it knew me watching it. I even tried covering the mirror with a towel. That worked for a while. But every morning I'd find the towel on the floor, neatly folded. I live alone. And then it spoke. It was around 2:47 a.m. I woke up to whispering, faint, indistinct, coming from the bathroom. I didn't want to look. I knew what I would see, but I couldn't stop myself. The bathroom light was off, but moonlight lit the mirror. My reflection was there, staring out from the darkness. Its mouth moved, slowly, silently. I stepped closer. I could feel the cold leaking from the room, like the mirror was breathing. Then a whisper, not from the air around me, but from inside my skull. Let me out. I ran. I spent the night in my car. When I came back the next day, the apartment felt off, like it was too still, airless. The mirror was covered again, but written on the dust on the outside of the glass was a single word. Soon. I took the mirror down. I threw it in the alley dumpster. It was back the next morning. Now it's in other places. My bathroom mirror, my phone screen, my laptop, even puddles on the street. I'll catch a glimpse and see it, that wrong version of me, watching from the other side, sometimes smiling, sometimes mouthing things I can't quite hear. But I know what it wants. It wants to trade places. And sometimes when I'm tired enough, when I linger too long, my reflection moves just a little bit faster than I do. Like it's getting ready. I haven't looked into a mirror in 3 days. I keep every reflective surface covered, turned over, or smashed. But tonight, as I write this, my screen just glitched for a second. I saw a face that wasn't mine, smiling back at me from the black border of my monitor. It whispered something again, louder this time, louder this time, louder this time, louder this time. And I swear I felt breath on my ear. It said, "You're already in here. Okay guys. Now we are going to be looking at some conspiracy theories. Just another disclaimer, if you feel paranoid or you're a type of person where this stuff kind of triggers you, I suggest lovingly that you don't watch this portion of the video. And there are plenty of other videos on my channel that are relaxing, like my sleep clinic video that I just posted that might suit you guys better. Just looking out for you. I'm going to try to pick ones that aren't very triggering and are just not as serious as some of the other ones that are really like triggering and serious and scary, really scary, because that's not my intention. I just want to share some interesting little ones that are not super serious. So without further ado, let's get started. Remember to keep yourself safe. Okay. No cure, no light, no chance. Why DB Cooper didn't survive the jump. All the hard evidence suggests that DB Cooper didn't survive the night he parachuted from the plane. He likely died in the rugged, forested area of the something river around jumped at night in freezing rain, wearing only a business suit and loafers. He had no visibility, no signaling gear, and no survival equipment, conditions that modern military data show result in death or severe injury in more than 70% of similar cases. There's also no solid evidence that he ever used or laundered the $194,000 in ransom money he kept. Despite decades of reward offers and bank tracing, none of the serial numbers have ever turned up. The only money ever found, $5,800, was discovered 9 years later on a sandbar in the Columbia River. Testing showed that the bills entered the water during a spring flood, years after the hijacking, not the night of the jump. The most likely explanation is that Cooper died soon after landing. The money probably washed downstream from the East Fork watershed, an area that early searchers missed, was later buried by volcanic ash and logging debris. When you look at the jump conditions, the science behind the money's discovery, the total lack of any confirmed sightings or activity after 1971, everything points to one conclusion: Cooper didn't make it out. His remains and the rest of the ransom probably still hidden somewhere in that remote stretch of forest. Most rational inference, D.B. Cooper perished on November 24th, 1971, probably of injuries or exposure within a few miles east of the Washougal River, and the bulk of his ransom remains, and perhaps his bones, are still buried there today. Everything: corrected flight track, wind drift, terrain fatality profile, post-mortem money path, and why nobody ever stumbled on something on that slice of East Fork River Gorge if Cooper died on the jump, as the physics in the barrel strongly suggest. His bones are certainly still out there, now under 40 years of logging debris and several inches of volcanic ash. That was an interesting one. Maybe. Oh, this one looks a little bit silly. Pigeons are real. It's the spiders that spy on us. Think about it. Pigeons are big and noticeable. It would look like spies if you looked inside. Spiders, on the other hand, are tiny and everywhere. It would make so much more sense, and it would explain why so many are in bathrooms, the freaks, and in your house and in public. They also have spy in the name spiders. The government made this pigeons conspiracy to hide the real fact. Also, why are they one of the only small things to be tiny, but also huge? The huge things are legit, and the tiny and small ones are spies. And daddy long legs would also explain why they're in corners of the room, since it's the easiest spot to hide. Yeah, I don't believe that. I'm sorry. Spider truthers. Okay. But you'll call me crazy if I told you that in the Bible they're talking about aliens the whole time. Serious. Aliens are proven to live in the ocean and have been for eons and millions of years. In the Bible it says Jesus Christ walked on water and Moses split the sea. And what else could manipulate water like that? Aliens. During the Cold War, a Russian unit in Siberia were all turned into stone after shooting down a UFO. And beings that came out of the UFO shape-shifted, combined together into an orb, and turned to limestone. And you know why that is? Because our body is made out of 90% water, and the rest are minerals like iron. So if you would take out all the water from our body, it's just minerals. This is a proven CIA document that was released. Y'all can search it up. In the Bible, it talked about the Great Flood. It wiped out everything except for one animal of every species. Noah was, I don't know what that word means. He was 9 foot tall and built the ark himself. All the miracles in the Bible that have to do with God involve water. This person really needs to work on their grammar. I'm trying to fix it, but no offense. Where were aliens proven to come out of and live? In the water and the oceans. Aliens can manipulate water and gravity. This is proven. The way they move through time and space is by manipulating the gravitational field across them. Around them. Because gravity and time are directly correlated. That's why when you go near a black hole, the massive gravitational pull warps time itself and making it seem like years have gone by to someone on the outside, when in reality it's only been a couple seconds or minutes for you. Aliens have been exiting the water by going 100 miles an hour. Why do y'all think NASA stopped exploring the oceans? Only 5% of the oceans have been explored. Is that true? I thought it was 20. Let's see, guys. The ocean is explored. Explored. Yeah, I guess that's only 5%. I guess they're right. Never mind. Okay. Only 5% of the oceans have been explored, and we stopped. Started going up into space. Why is that? Because they saw some effed up stuff, or were deterred by the aliens. The Egyptians didn't create the pyramids, they discovered them, or they were helped by an advanced civilization. Recently, they discovered metallic coils going miles underground beneath the pyramids of Giza. I don't know if they're trying to say Gaza. Giza, I don't know. No old Egyptians could create that stuff. And what do the metallic coils do? They preserve bodies. I forgot how technology works. But the coils manifest energy, and there's a type of quartz inside the pyramid. So when the quartz get pressurized by the energy from the coils, it creates an electromagnetic field. Yeah, I don't know about all that. Okay. This looks interesting. Did the Nazis have alien tech during World War II? I've been diving into World War II conspiracies. The Nazi advanced technology theory keeps coming up. The official story says the Germans were really just good at engineering. Think V-2 rockets and jet fighters like the Me-262. But what if there's more to it? Some say that the Nazis have had help from extraterrestrials or stumbled upon ancient alien tech. The evidence. Look at the Bell Project. Supposedly it was a bell-shaped device that defined gravity. Possibly a prototype to anti-gravity tech or even time travel. Witnesses described it glowing and emitting radiation. The project was so secret that the scientists involved disappeared after the war. Then there's the Foo Fighters, those mysterious orbs. I thought the Foo Fighters were a band. Allied pilots saw in the skies. The Nazis were allegedly experimenting with circular craft that could outmaneuver anything we had. Here's the kicker. After the war, the US and the USSR scooped up Nazi scientists through Operation Paperclip. Suddenly we see a tech boom. Think Roswell in 47 and the rapid development of space programs. Coincidence? Or did the aliens reverse engineer what the Nazis found? Some even claim Hitler's obsession with the occult led him to ancient artifacts tied to ETs, like the Spear of Destiny, which he thought gave him power. I'm not saying I buy it 100%, but the timeline is suspicious. It's a bit interesting. It's taking me a little bit more to find these because some of them do look very triggering, so I'm trying to take those out. vague. I just had to go ahead and do it. Sounded like BS. Now I'm 23 with no issues, and they've asked me to schedule an appointment to get my wisdoms removed like every year. It seems scammy to me. Definitely a necessary procedure for some people, but not everyone needs it. Just taking our money. I have gotten my wisdom teeth removed, and I actually had a lot of wisdom teeth pain before I had mine removed. I got mine removed in May of 2023, and I definitely needed it, so I don't know about that. I don't super believe in a lot of these, but let's see. Okay, so I have a theory. We're Adam and Eve, survivors of a lost Martian civilization. A new perspective on humanity's origins. Let me propose a theory that blends myth, science, and ancient history in a way that might challenge what we think we know about our origins. What if the biblical story of Adam and Eve is not a metaphor for the beginning of life on Earth, but instead the end of an ancient civilization on Mars? Here's the idea. In the distant past, long before recorded Earth history, Mars was once a thriving planet, home to an advanced civilization, not just technologically powerful, but also spiritually and intellectually evolved. The Martian society may have achieved incredible heights until it fell. Perhaps it was due to war, natural catastrophe, or a self-inflicted apocalypse, probably even nuclear, as some theorists suggest based on radiation traces found on Mars. Either way, their civilization collapsed. But not everyone perished. A small group of survivors, possibly the last hope for their is the Superman, escaped Mars and journeyed to Earth, a planet still in its early stages of evolution, rich in life but underdeveloped. Two of these survivors were perhaps the descendants of several that landed here, because of what we now call Adam and Eve. The Genesis story, then, isn't Earth's beginning, it's Mars's ending. The Garden of Eden, a poetic memory of Mars before the fall. The banishment from Eden, the exile to Earth, a harsher, less advanced world that they had to adapt to. The tree of knowledge. Perhaps it symbolizes the scientific and spiritual legacy they carried with them, something humanity wasn't yet ready for. Over time, their knowledge faded. Their descendants multiplied, and the original story was retold, not as Martian history, but as divine mythology. Every religion, then, could be a fragmented recollection of ancient cosmic history. Perhaps ghouls weren't celestial beings, but highly intelligent survivors. Martians, reptilians, or others misunderstood by early humans. Indian mythology, for example, contains references to flying crafts, celestial wars, and beings descending from the heavens. Could these be echoes of the same origin? This theory also ties into why many ancient civilizations had inexplicably advanced knowledge in architecture, astronomy, and mathematics. Perhaps they were remembering, not discovering. I know this might sound like science fiction, but ask yourself, why are there traces of Sinan 129 on Mars? Why are so many ancient texts from the Bible to the Vedas obsessed with sky gods, fallen stars, and beings from above? What if we're not alone in the universe because we were never alone to begin with? That feels like it would be a really good movie. Really good movie, really good movie, really good. Okay, this one I definitely believe. The most famous social media influencers start off by buying their followers. I've always had this theory that the most famous social media influencers start off their following by buying their followers. Before you tell me that attractiveness plays a role, and having interesting content pushes out to the attractive. There's also several famous influencers who aren't all that attractive also. Also, there are some influencers who make amazing high quality content for years who never make it big. I just want to explain that. Another thing I want to add is if you look at my previous posts, that perhaps social media apps in general just pick and choose who is going to become famous and whose content will get pushed out more. Pretty much based on luck. That's another factor. In my opinion, following size doesn't really matter when it comes to social media influencers. Think about it when you come across an influencer's page. If you see that they have a large following or a lot of hits in their content, doesn't that usually intrigue you and make you want to interact with their content and follow them? I think that for most people it does, adding to their following. I believe that 100%. Okay, this is an interesting one. What if bots is becoming more popular because of 2010 skinny jeans trend? Hear me out. What if all these women suddenly getting post orthostatic something syndrome wasn't just because of COVID, but rather the fact that we all stopped wearing skinny jeans? Skinny jeans squeeze your legs like compression socks. If you wear compression socks for too long in your life, your veins in your legs become lazier and pumping blood up to your body. I don't know, it's half-baked. I have POTS, by the way. Probably from a combination of bad childhood genetics and COVID. That's interesting. I actually have a little tiny suspicion that I do have POTS. I need to get it tested. I pass out a lot. I'm also highly anemic, so that also factors. Okay. Celebrities. This is going to be all over the place because that's how I am. I keep seeing pictures of artists and I'm fairly certain that they got a new face. I just looked at a picture of Beyonce and I don't even think it's her. So why does she look the same as Christina Aguilera almost? Also Lindsay Lohan. I'm starting to wonder if The Death Becomes Her movie was based on a true thing. And all these celebrities took the potion. Next thing you know, they're going to be getting spray painted. I think that they just all have the same plastic surgeon. Probably. Okay. Let's see if we can find another one. Let's see if we can find another one that's not that serious. Oh, it's raining a little bit. That's nice. Okay. J.D. Vance killed the old Pope to be replaced by an American. Let's all look exactly how it is. The Vice President of the United States has an encounter with the old Pope, and he dies the next day. That alone is incredibly odd. Maybe it's just weird timing, but I'm guessing it's probably a plot from the administration to put America first. Just what, a few weeks later, now we have the first American Pope. Sounds like a scandal to me. That is pretty crazy, but the Pope's been having a lot of health scares too, so I don't know. Princess Diana wasn't assassinated. She died because she didn't wear a seatbelt and her drunk driver crashed into a concrete pillar. That's it. Oh wait, that's not a conspiracy, that's true. Okay. Let's find another one. What is wrong with Zendaya? One, among other celebrities, she looks and feels like replaced. After 2019, Zendaya disappeared and came back transformed. Whenever she is out on some kind of gala or something else, her movements, speech feel practiced. Plus, you should find the glitching smile video. Even though it's not any kind of evidence, I don't know why, but she's always wearing some kind of big hat. Anybody notice the same thing? Oh yes, the Zendaya hat theory. Zendaya hat theory. The Zendaya hat theory. If you guys don't know what that is, you should look it up. You should look it up. this is to protect fragile ecosystems. Others suspect it hides something ancient, something humanity isn't ready for. From deep radar anomalies to long buried structures under miles of ice, theories abound. This recent documentary style video raises many of these points and compares them to secrecy surrounding other locations like Area 51. Do you think Antarctica is just a frozen wasteland, or a sealed vault of forgotten knowledge? I don't know about that one. I feel like Antarctica, can't you just go there? You just go there, can't you just go there? Okay, let's look at, I wonder what the most popular conspiracy is here. Let's see. Can we sort? Best. Hot. Oh, this is interesting. What if the Catholic Church is simply the Roman Empire disguised? I'm not a historian, but the last time I checked, Christians were being killed during those years by the Roman Empire. Then all of a sudden, thousands of years ago, now the Christians' headquarters are right there in Rome. What if someone within the Roman Empire saw this coming? It was surprisingly easier to manipulate people with religion than with swords, and it was much cheaper. Again, I'm nobody, simply contributing to this community with no historical background. I don't know, I'm not really familiar with that very much, but I don't know, possibly. I was Catholic for much, much, much of my life. Let's see if we can find one more. Let's see if we can find one more. Okay. What if, at some point in the future, a time traveler came all the way back to ancient Egypt, so that they are not mummifying the dead, building the pyramids, etc. Because he was taught throughout his life and history that the Egyptians were doing all these things. He told them that they must mummify the dead, especially the pharaohs, because they will become immortal and into the world, and by immortal he means to us as archaeologists. Okay, I know I said one more, but I found one that seems interesting, so we'll do this one last. Stephen King is responsible for Dreamcore. Stephen King, influenced by the anxiety associated with alcoholism, creates the psychological horror novel The Shining. Later, a renowned film producer named Stanley Kubrick adapts the tale into a film of the same title, starring Jack Nicholson. In the late 90s, an electronic musician named James Kirby becomes spellbound by the work of Kubrick, specifically his usage of 20s ballroom music. He proceeds to digitally alter similar pieces of music to stimulate Jack towards his super